Welcome to Lesson 5 in our Edexcel IGCSE Biology series. Today's lesson is on cell structure. Before we look into the structure of animal and plant cells, we need to go over the level of organisation of the structures within organisms. The smallest structure within the level of organisation is an organelle. Organelles are also known as subcellular structures. For example, mitochondria and ribosomes are organelles. A group of organelles make up the next level of organisation, the cell. Examples of cells include muscle cells and nerve cells. A group of similar cells that work together to carry out a particular function make up tissues. For example, a muscle tissue is made up of muscle cells. A group of different tissues that work together to perform a particular function make up organs. Examples of organs include the stomach and the liver. A group of organs that work together to perform a particular function form an organ system. An example of an organ system is the digestive system. Multiple organ systems working together form organisms, and that's the level of organisation. Organelles, cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, and organisms. The main organ systems in humans are the digestive system, the gas exchange system, the circulatory system, the excretory system, the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the reproductive system. Now let's look at the structure of cells. Firstly, we'll look at animal cells. Here is a general example of an animal cell containing organelles. Let's take everything away and look at all the features one by one. Firstly, we have the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a thin layer that surrounds the cell. It is partially permeable, which means some chemicals can move into the cell and some can move out. It can also control the movements of some substances in and out of the cell, which is known as being selectively permeable. Inside the cell membrane is cytoplasm. The cytoplasm surrounds all the organelles in the cell. Its texture is somewhere between a liquid and a solid. It's like runny jelly. The cytoplasm contains dissolved nutrients and salts. Many chemical reactions happen in the cytoplasm. Enzymes control these reactions. Let's add a nucleus to our animal cell. This is the largest organelle in the cell, and it controls its activities. Nearly all cells have a nucleus. However, red blood cells, for example, do not have a nucleus. There are chromosomes in the nucleus which carry genetic material, or genes. Genes determine which proteins the cell makes. We'll do a bit more on this in a few slides. An organelle that all animal cells have is mitochondrion. The plural for mitochondrion is mitochondria. Mitochondria carry out some of the reactions of respiration and release energy for the cell to use. Cells that need a lot of energy have a lot of mitochondria, such as muscle cells. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. The final organelle we'll look at are the ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny structures. They are where protein synthesis occurs. The instructions for making proteins comes from the DNA in the nucleus. The instructions come out of the nucleus and into the cytoplasm. The ribosomes read the instructions, and the proteins are assembled on the ribosomes. Here is our animal cell. Can you label the 5 parts? Now let's look at the typical structure of a plant cell. All of the structures we saw in animal cells are also present in a plant cell. So we have a nucleus, mitochondrion, ribosomes, cytoplasm, and a cell membrane. Their functions in a plant cell are the same as their functions in an animal cell. However, plant cells have a few more organelles. Plant cells have a cell wall. The cell wall helps keep the cell's shape as it is made up of a tough carbohydrate called cellulose. Cell walls are freely permeable, which means it is porous and allows all substances in and out without restrictions. Plant cells also have a vacuole. The vacuole is filled with cell sap. Dissolved sugars, mineral ions, and other solutes are stored here. Vacuoles also help keep the structure of the plant cell. Vacuoles are large permanent structures of plant cells. Vacuoles can be found in animal cells, but they are small and temporary. The cells in green parts of a plant contain chloroplasts. Chloroplasts absorb light energy to make food for the plants through photosynthesis. Chloroplasts contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. Can you label the 8 features of this plant cell? Let's compare the 2 cells. Both cells have a cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, mitochondria, and ribosomes. However, only the plant cell has a cell wall, vacuole, and chloroplasts. Well done on completing another lesson.